Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. This is one example of many of a hit job done by the mainstream mass media on the Democratic presidential candidate, Mr. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I said from the very beginning when he announced his candidacy that he is an unelected or electable, unelectable candidate, even in the Democratic Party. Why? Because he's not going to be somehow allowed to win. Well, they say he's not going to be voted, in the primaries and all that. He's not going to win because he's not saying what he's supposed to say. By definition, he is a Kennedy, so that means he cannot get in power any more Kennedys, because he might say certain things about past events and pointing out, which he already did, pointing out that organization and that how do you call it agency is responsible for certain events that might wake up even the sleepy people in this country, and they might work within the system then. So what happened? We have here an article coming from Yahoo News 360 degrees, and it's just an example to show you how a hit job on this guy is done. Let's go and see. The first thing here, they say Robert F. Kennedy Jr., what's behind, and now they give us the whole picture. The anti-vaccine activist surprising polling strength. So this is what you need to know about this guy. This guy is an anti-vaccine. Like, that is what defines him as a human being, as a candidate. That. Now, obviously, they did this not to try to, how should I call it, beef up his poll number or polling strength, because this is not something that's very popular with the party he is going to run within or in. So, Mr. Mike Baberness, hey, Mr. Baberness, you can make shit up. Mike Baberness, what's going on? Senior editor, oh, he knows shit. So, already I know where he is standing with this right here, from the very beginning. What's happening? Yeah, tell us, babe. Tell us, babe. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a leading anti-vaccine conspiracist. You got that? You got that? All you need to know. The first thing, and a descendant of the Kennedy political dynasty, has garnered a surprising amount of support in polls since announcing his bid to upset President Biden in the Democratic presidential primary. So this is, right, already you need to know anti-vaccine conspiracies. Okay. Kennedy was among the most popular proponents of the debunk theory that the vaccines cause autism. Again, this is another hit job on him. Well, you say, well, Emil, we need to know that, the truth. Well, I think it's more than that, don't you think? Why do you introduce this guy as this? So don't tell me about knowing the truth here, because we know this guy is not into knowing the truth. He's in hitting this guy as much. So he says that he's got as much as 20% in the Democratic-leaning voters in a handful of recent polls. All right, well, let's go back. So Kennedy's father, he tells us about the history, he tells about his debunk theory. He claimed that the G5 networking technology will be used to control our behavior. So again, he makes him here the point that he is an crazy guy. Okay, he talks about the vaccines, and then he talks about disinformation dozen, a small group of people responsible for the spreading of majority of false claims. He was also identified. He said that. So he was also identified by researchers as one of the disinformation dozen, of small group of people. You think so? How do you know it's a small group? Responsible for spreading the majority of false claims about the safety and effectiveness of COVID-19 vaccines. Again, They try to continue. Beyond vaccines, okay, he's even crazier than that, we want to know. Kennedy has claimed that 5G networking technology will be used to control our behavior, end quote. Blamed the US and Ukraine for provoking Russia's invasion, accused George W. Bush of stealing the 2004 presidential election, called for people to deny climate change, or maybe have questions, how about that? But now if you have questions and you ask for answers, you're called denier. To be jailed, okay. Suggested antidepressants may be causing school shooting, and strongly insinuated that both his father and uncle were murdered by US intelligence agencies. So they say here that he called for people who deny climate change to be jailed. Well, he loves freedom. I already can see that one. But all these things are made to hit him, because all these things, or most of these things, I would say, run against the narrative. So where's the debate? Okay, we're gonna go back here with something else, with the perspectives. Now, the perspectives, you would think that having 20% of the Democrats and people like me, who I'm not a Democrat, who actually agrees with many things that Mr. Kennedy says, but it's one thing what you say, another thing that you do. We got to make a distinction right there. They give us the perspectives, and guess what the perspectives will be? Do you think they will be positive, negative, both, neutral? Well, by the way the article started by Mr. Babe, you understand exactly what the perspectives. Now, his support may be entirely the result of his famous last name. And they gave us Washington Post, New York, Star Ledger, Wall Street Journal, Reason, The Conversation, The Daily Beast, Vice, The New York Post. So all these things, all these coming from articles from these weasels are hit pieces on Mr. Kennedy. So they say it's not because he says certain things that might appeal to the public. It's just that people are just nostalgic. Oh, he's a Kennedy. How did the Kennedy family do their wealth? Through the bootlegging, wasn't that with the prohibition time? Yes, it was. Oh my God. Okay, let's go back to these guys. His support may be entirely, okay, and these are what these guys are saying, Washington Post. There's plenty of reason to believe his early poll standing is significantly inflated by his famous name. Could be, and it is, I'm guessing. There is probably no name in American politics that in modern golden, particularly among left-leaning Americans. Aaron. Most voters aren't aware of Kennedy's most extreme beliefs. Unfortunately for Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I'm quoting, right? It seems voters really don't know who he is, and his support will dwindle once they find out. And you're going to let us know who he is because we believe you. New York Times. Now, he is skilled at leveraging the support of his fringe followers within allowing them to define him. And this is Star Ledger. I don't know what this is, New Jersey. The QAnon crowd, I'm quoting, likes Robert F. Kennedy Jr., but he's smart enough not to openly endorse that particular lunacy. But like Trump, oh my God, he lets the lunatics line up behind him. Also, like Trump, he has a talent for promoting populist views. All right, another hit job. Next one. Democratic voters are searching for anyone other than Biden to be their nominee. Okay, regardless of the preferences of the Democratic establishment, many Democratic voters are still not accepting the idea that they're stuck with Joe Biden. Well, this is kind of like, it's just because Biden is, so good, they are not happy about it. They want to turn it into something else. Now, he's getting a boost from conservatives looking to hobble Biden. None of these guys here, of the impressions, perspectives, will tell us that maybe he says certain things that some Republicans, some other people of different kind of, how's that, political paint color, how you want to call it, see and agree with whatever he says. Again, Kennedy is seizing on widespread distrust of authority that has seeped into the US electorate. I wonder why. Because there's no no reason. And again, they use COVID and all this occurred. Okay, vaccines and all that. Kennedy's relative popularity shows how the conspiracist mindset has infected every wing of US policy. This is the Daily Beast. You would expect that. The media is making him look like a serious candidate by failing to call out his lies. Right, so he should not be taken seriously. Let's ridicule him. This is from the Vice. And outside his zanier beliefs, Kennedy is a talented communicator with an appealing message. And I'm quoting, it'll be a serious challenge if the Democratic establishment and its media allies can't quash him. Kennedy has real conviction and charisma, and he's fiercely independent of many of the party's reigning pieties, all of which should appeal. All right, this one should look a little bit more balanced, or a little bit really mildly talented communicator. But it says outside of his zanier beliefs. So he's still an idiot, but he's just a, like they say Hitler was a, whatever, had charisma or whatever. He was a good communicator, and he just had an appealing message, but he was the evilest of the evilists, if you know what I mean. So the same, this guy, you can take it either way. So this is a hit job, not only by the Yahoo 360-degree blah blah blah, but I listed all those guys, and it's more than that. You just have to click a little bit and find out that these guys consider Kennedy a cuckoo. He not very good at anything. He's just because he's a Kennedy, and he is just a conspiracy theorist. He's this denier, that anti that, blah blah blah, ist blah 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 phobic. You get the picture. So yeah, don't vote for him. This is what basically these guys are telling you, which I don't care. There are certain messages that he sends, and I don't know how. I saw some pictures. That's what bothered me a lot. I saw some pictures with Mr. Kennedy, days old pictures with Mr. Kennedy, and some answers that he gave to certain particular issue that I didn't like his answer. I didn't like certain things, which gave me an idea. Okay, so he's in the pockets. They say independent. I don't think so. So he knows exactly who's who, what's what, and he just plays around. And you have to do this at one point because you need support. I wonder what he's gonna do when he gets up there. Probably the same thing as everybody else did. Follow the orders of those guys, and those guys, if you know what I mean. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.